Game loaded.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Lessons Learned with your host, Rafael Piñero, or should I say, the perfect shitstorm. Yes, I'm a bit peeved. Thank you, Konami. Hashtag fuck Konami and Square Enix, plus Sony and Activision. Because apparently, being shitty by committee is the new trend in the AAA industry. Let's take a little video that Mr. Jim, thank God for him, Sterling, made about Konami's boot camp for video game critics and journalists. Disclosure, I am contractually obligated to use the term thank God for him every time I mention the name of Mr. Jim, thank God for him, Sterling, just so you know. Well, he made a little video about that little boot camp, the little soiree of putting critics in a hotel under adult supervision so that they would experience Metal Gear The Phantom Pain for about 10, 15, 20 hours or so, and then go back to their offices and homes and write their reviews. I'm sure Konami was hoping that their friendly service and loads of coffee and sweets was going to get them glowing reviews, and what I seen in some of those reviews, it seemed to have worked. Mr. Jim, thank God for him, Sterling, decided to make a little video about it, and Konami retaliated by hurling a content/copyright claim on the video. And lo and behold, Sony and Activision join in the fray, because why the hell not? Of course, these attempts at censorship usually backfire. I'm talking about it. Now you know about it. Well, they failed. In part because Mr. Sterling does not get his revenue from ads on YouTube. He doesn't monetize his videos, like say I do. So there you go. Of course, Konami decided to double down on their content strike by essentially saying not only could no one monetize the video, specifically Mr. Sterling, but they and only they could monetize the video. Right, a video made criticizing their PR move to try to promote their game. They decided to put ads on it so they could get the revenue from it. I don't think they understand what censorship is or how it works, or is this some kind of, petty move like, sticking your tongue out to a fellow classmate or something, or pulling on pigtails. I don't know. Hashtag fuck Konami? Again? Well, they're not alone. We have Square Enix. They have a new game coming out next year, February 22nd, 2016, called Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I always screw up and want to say Humanity Divided because the original game was Deus Ex Human Revolution. Well, the original game was Deus Ex, but it wasn't made by Eidos Montreal. The first game made by Eidos Montreal was called Deus Ex Human Revolution. Now that we clear that up, we have Mankind Divided. And Square Enix decided to mix the worst parts of a viral campaign and a pyramid scheme in order to encourage people to pre-order the game before its release. Now, I think you know my position on pre-orders. They're completely useless from a consumer point of view, but fans love to express their affection for a product by, among other things, pre-ordering. Square Enix knows this, so they decided to encourage fans to recruit other fans, friends and family, in the pre-ordering scheme by giving out bonuses based on the amount of people brought in, as you can see in these screen grabs, directly from their website. The more people pre-order, the better, of course, for Square Enix, and presumably for those who pre-ordered earlier. The essence of a pyramid scheme. You earn more money if you can get more people recruited into the scheme, but it's a scheme, it's a scam, because the only people that really benefit are the people who create the pyramid scheme. And what is the ultimate prize that Square Enix is promising for a successful pre-order campaign? They're going to move back the release date of the game by 4 days. Now, you probably heard me talk about the patching culture. You heard news about games being delayed so that they need to be polished. This game is supposed to be released 5 to 6 calendar months from today. Folks, there is no Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Not yet. They may have a lot of the components therein, but they don't have a finished game. There's a good chance, based on what happened with the last game, that this game might not even be finished when it's supposed to be released, whether they move the date back or not. What happened with the last game? Well, it went into development hell, to the point that Square Enix had to hire a different company to create the boss fights that Eidos Montreal could not do in time. So you ended up with a hybrid game that was 80% stealth and 10 to 20% FPS boss fights. It wasn't a horrible game, but it certainly suffered from that. And also was an awfully truncated pseudo open world game as well. Fun, but it's one of those games that could have been much better. It wasn't. Maybe it could never have been, considering the technological status of the game industry at the time, especially in consoles. But, you know, that happened. And now you have Square Enix promising that they're going to release a game even earlier. Are they going to release a game without multi-gigabyte patches? Or are they going to pull another hashtag fuck Konami and release the PC version of the game, the physical copy of it, in stores that has a disc in which, instead of having the actual game data on it, it has a Steam installer. Yes, that's right. You go through all the trouble of actually acquiring the physical copy from your local game store. You get home, you put the disc in, and it basically says, please go to Steam to download this game. Konami, how stupid are you? How is the important word there, because we know you're stupid. I know you're stupid. You know you're stupid. The entire universe knows you're stupid. We're just trying to gauge how stupid you are, so we can have a measuring stick of sorts. So we can compare it to other stupid things you've done before, during, and after. And maybe compare it to other things. And certainly use it as a ruler to hit people over the head and say, don't do the stupid thing that Konami just did. Maybe whack Square Enix over the head with it. Right now I have this gaudy, disgusting image of multiple AAA executives sitting in a cage somewhere with their pants completely cacked and packed with their own feces. And then, because they're bored, I suppose, they take their feces and they throw it at each other and at anyone and anything within reach. And when they get tired of that, they smear it on their faces and they literally have a shit-eating grin when they do that. And then they go back to flinging, throwing, and smearing said shit everywhere. Now, one could excuse Square Enix maneuver, if you will, for lack of a better term, because they want to make bank as soon as possible. That's the whole thing about pre-orders. You want to make sure that you make money as soon as possible. And they also wanted to create a snowball effect where the sheer numbers would create a sense of popularity and put pressure on other people to get into it before the game was released. Being the next big thing effect, if you will. Not the first time that happens, not the first company to do so, although it's the first company to do so for game pre-orders in the AAA industry. Folks, right now I am sans words. I'm trying to formulate a way to explain all of this. The congruence, the swirling mess of idiotic moves that these two companies and those that joined them, for whatever reason, have just made. The problem with all this is, of course, if any of these things are successful, they will be repeated. You'll see more content strikes. You will see more pyramid schemes for pre-orders. You'll see all of this. Because if it works once, apparently it's worth repeating. So right now, I'm just so tired of it all. You know what? I'm going to let you comment below. And if you like what we heard and saw here, please subscribe, because I do depend on ads. And I'll see you when I see you. Good night. Salamar estos cabrones, puñeta. Yeah.